Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope the one will be fine, and welcome back to the part number 5. So hopefully this will be the last part where I'm going to explain you about very important concepts. So the first thing which we will cover about the login functionality, where we will work with the validation first, then we will work with the services and get the response from the API. We will also store the token inside our local storage of the browser that will help us to authenticate the user, and if that session is not stored, that means that user is not authenticated or login, so he can't access to the dashboard. So we will apply all those changes in this video. So let's jump in and get started here, right? So the very beginning of this video, as I need to have my submits button, and I think so we have to grab a lot of stuff for the very much similar stuff that we did for in validation for the register. So I want to copy most of the things from the register component and just paste it inside our login, right? So just could do it first. So let's go inside our source app and make sure you have your server running off your backend. So Laravel backend server should be running so we can access to the API, right? So let's go inside your login and click on the login.component.html, and right after this, down to this div, I need to have my button for the submit button. So let's give it the class of bdn dash primary or dark, whatever you want to give. So bdn dash sm for small, and I want to give some space, empty dash for from top. Right, so let's give it the name of the button of login. Let's go back to the browser and you see the login button appears. Now let's look for the validation first. So as I explained that I want to copy it same stuff from the email and the password. So we have two text fields inside our login component. So I want to grab most of the things from the register. So let's open up your register.component.html. I need the very much similar stuff for the email. So just copy it from here and replace with your complete div. So I just want to replace it with my current email, and I want to just grab the password, not the confirmed password. So just grab this one and just replace with the password that we have, right? So just leave that, right? So now we have our register and the login, and definitely it's going to show you the error because we haven't defined that submitted inside our login.component in our component file. So let's first define those things inside our component. Plus I need to have my some submit button as well. So let's go to the form first and give here a directive for the ng submit equal to, and give it the name of the function which should be submit. And I need to define my form group, which is basically helpful for the form collection, and that will let us to get the values and the reactive form validations, right? So let's define here form group, and that should be equal to the form, whatever you name you assign here, and I need to define that inside my login.component.ts file. So let's go there and define things here. So I need to go to my login.component.ts. So I need to define here some sort of the form builder here. So I want to grab it from the register, very much similar stuff that we have. So I need to define I need the form builder. I also need the toaster service and I also need the data service. So I just want to copy it all three from here, and let's paste it inside your, I believe where it goes. So login.component.ts file, and let's paste it down right here, right? So now I define my service. I also define the toaster service plus the form builder, all right? So let's go down here and define some objects here. So first I need to define this, the submitted, which is coming. So by default, the submitted should be false. And I also need to define here the form group for the form. So let's define that too. So form, and give it the form group. All right. So saves it, and now if I go back to the browser, it still says that property F does not define. So I need to define the function for that too. And I also need to give it some validator as well. So let's go inside your constructor and define the service first. So data service, and that should be equal to the data service. Plus I also need to define the toaster. So that should be toaster and equal to the toaster service. So toaster service, and I also need here a router. After that, when we have to log in, we will see that later on, and I need to define here private. Let's give it the name of form builder. So form builder, and let's give it equal to the form builder. All right, so we define our form builder as well, and let's go to inside your ng on init, and before I should define here a function, I need to create a function first. So let's create a function with the name of login form, and that's where we have to define that form, this dot form equal to this dot form builder that we define inside our constructor that will help us to build a form, and we are used as a group because we have multiple fields inside it. So let's first define here email. That should be empty by default, and we have to define the validator. So we need to define validators of two types. First, we have to check it should be required, and next we need to check if that is valid email. So validators.email. All right. So right after that, I need to define the password as well. So password, and that should be empty by default, and I need to give it the validators, or I should bring that inside the brackets. So validators dot required, so required for the password. All right, so that's fine, and it should be fine. Yeah, I forget to bring here the comma. Right, so let's define this function inside the ng on in it, so that will continuously run this function. So this should be this dot login form. All right, and next I need to define the function for the getter. So get f, and that's where I need to return the form control. So this dot form dot, so it will control the form, right? So this dot form dot controls. All right, so next we have to check on base of the condition. Actually, I need to get f, and I need to return that. All right, so that's fine. Let's define the submits button once we click on here. So I need to give here a condition. If this dot form dot invalid, means that if it's invalid, we need to return it. And I also need to go inside my submit button only if that submitted is true. So this dot submitted, which is by default false, but once we go inside our inside the submits button, so this is gonna be true, not false, and this will return if something is invalid, and if things are fine, then it will go after that, where we have to call the API and get a response, right? So I hope that we are good with the validation. Let's go back to the browser. Yeah, it's fine, and let's go to the console. I need to click on and go to the console, which is clear right now. Let's click on the login, which is fine, and you see now the email is required and the password is required. As soon as I type something here, the password removed, right? So we are done with the validation, and now next thing we are going to do, we have to look for the service that we have to create. So let's go inside our service for the login. All right, so let's go inside the service and data.service.ts file, right? And let's create here a login. We have to define the data, and this should be this.http.post. We are using here the login and define the environmental setup. So environment.api URL. We have to define the URL. Let's concatenate that and define our API. So /API/login/ and we have to pass the data. All right, so that's fine for the service. Okay, so let's go back to the login.component.ts file, and we have to define that service. Okay, so right after the return, if that is invalid, it will stop, but if things are fine, then we have to define our service. So this dot data service dot login, the name of the function. All right, so that's where we have to get the value from the form. So this dot form dot value, and we have to subscribe it, right? So subscribe, and let's get the response. And I need to define define the response in a data object. So it should be actually, so this dot data equal to, so this will get all the response inside the data object. So let's define the data of type any, and next we have to define if that status is 1. Now if this dot data.status, and if that is equal to 1, we have to get the token, this dot token equal to, now this will get the object through the this dot data. Actually I want to show you first, like we have to define few things here. So first thing, I need to create an object for the service, which should be type of any. And before I should jump directly to it, I need to define here the auth service first. So let's define that first. We have to create here a guard which will help and save which will help us to save the token inside our local storage. So let's do that first. So I need to go inside my source app, and let's create here a file with the name of auth.guard.ts, right? So this will let us to store, this will check actually that if that is activated or the token is stored in our local storage. So that will let us. So let's import the dependency injection injectable for your dependencies. So let's define the injectable from the Angular/core. So it should be Angular/core, and then I need to define the can activate, which will check that if the user is authenticated, that will route to the login if that is not authenticated. So we have to use here can activate, and plus I need to define the router as well so we can route to the pages. So from the Angular/router. So I need to inject that. So just define injectable, and we have to inject it to the provided in root. Okay, so that's fine. You can also create with a command. I believe that should be created. This basic structure should be created with a command, but I believe it's fine that if you can write it on your hands, right? So let's export the class for the auth guard. So auth guard. Actually, it should be auth guard. So auth guard should implement the can activate interface, and let's define the constructor inside here, and we have to define a router. So private router with a capital router. All right, and next we have to define the object with the token that will get the token from the local storage. And if that is saved, let's suppose if we want to check if that is saved, so we have to create a method with the name of can activate with a smaller c, and if that token is available, right? So this dot token equal to local storage, and we have to get the item using the get item method, and that token we have to get that key, and if that token is present, if that token is present inside your local storage, and actually I just need to see that I created that, and it says property can active in type auth guard is not assignable. All right, so I need to see, so I define the token. Okay, I would just want to see it later, or I should have to define auth guard, which I already defined, and it's implementing the can active. And next, if that token is found, so if this dot token is available, then I just need to return true. On the other condition, yeah, now it's fine. Now on the other case, it should route to the login page. So this dot router dot navigate, and I need to navigate it to the login page. All right, so let's do that. And now still things are not done yet. We have to go and define inside our app.module.ts file. So let's import here, import the auth guard from the Angular. Actually we have defined our on. So let's go to the dot slash, and I need to go to from the auth.guard, right? And next I have to define inside my login condition. Let's go down to it and define here can activate, and let's give it the auth guard. All right, saves it, Now if I just try to go to the home page, it should not allow me to go. Yeah, you see now it redirecting me to the login page because we are not actually authenticated. Now if I try to go to the register page, which is fine, but it's not allowing me to go to the dashboard, right? So now let's work with the dashboard and how we can go to the route to the login. So I need to go to my login.component.ts file as we have defined. And before I should go directly inside this condition, first let's have to check the console response, right? So I need to open up my inspect and go to the console. Let's log in with the credentials. Let's say if I type test@gmail.com, try to log in, and you see the message is showing the user is logged in successfully, and inside data we have some few results. So inside the data object we have another data where we can see the token. We have the token, we have the message, we have a code, and that's what I need to get. So first I need to access the data. Inside data we have another object with the data, and you see that we are able to get its token, and next we have to see we can easily get the message. So let's go inside our login condition. We have to apply here a condition that if this.data.status, now you see how I'm getting the object. So if this.data.status, which is the one inside the data array, we have a status, and if this.data.status is equal to 1, that means that we have a token. So let's create here this.token. We have to get this object, and you see this token is defined here inside my export class, and I need to give here this.token, and with the help of this.data. Now I need to get the token, so it should be inside the data, and inside another object of the data we have a token. So let's get it from the this.data.token, and I need to actually store in this local storage. So let's create here a method with the name of local storage, and we have to set the item. So local storage dot set item, and give it the name of the key, which is the key and the value pair. So first is the token, and I need to save that token inside with this dot token, right? So basically this variable or object should have the token, and I store inside the key and the value pair inside my local storage, right? And once it's logged in, that means that if it's fine, means that if the user is authenticated, I need to route to the login. So I need to see that whether I define the router or not. So I need to import the router. So let's import the router, import router from the Angular router. So from, and let's define here Angular/router. And I need to define inside my router as well. So let's go inside our constructor. So private router with our capital router, right? Saves it, and let's go down to the this dot route, and I need to this dot router dot navigate, and I need to navigate it to the home page. So let's use the slash for it. So this will navigate to the home page, right? So that's fine. Actually, it should be in the single quotes, right? Okay, so that's fine. Now I need to show the message. So this dot toaster, and we have to show the success message. So this dot toaster dot success. So let's define the JSON dot stringify. We have to get the message as well. So this dot data dot message, and I need to also define here the code message as well. So JSON dot stringify this dot data dot code, and we have to then define the timeout. So let's define a timeout of 2 seconds, 2000 millisecond, and I need to show the progress bar. Let's give it a value of true, right? That's fine. And next we have to check. This should be for the if condition. Right now let's look for the else case, right? So else, I need to copy almost the same stuff. So let's copy that token and this. So I have to apply else if. So this dot data dot status, if that is equal to 0, and actually I need to, yeah, that's fine. So else if this dot data dot success is unsuccessful, so I need to define here the error message. So this dot toaster dot error, and this will help us to navigate the code, right? So let's go back and refresh this, and if I go to the test@gmail.com tries to log in, and you see now it's showing me the code, log in successfully with the status code, which is fine. Let's go inside your application, and you see now we have our token saved inside our local storage. So we have a token and with having a key and a value. Now if I just try to delete it from here, and so that will not allow. Now if I just try to refresh this, so this will redirect back me to the login, because we have to store our local storage session inside there, right? So now if I just try to log that again, and with the wrong password, so if I just try to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and you see the email or the password is incorrect, so it's showing us the both things, right? So let's log in first. If I go to the login, it will route me to the home page, and it will save the storage, right? Now if I go to my console, and now I need to show the username here, right? So the last thing that we are left with is to create here a logout button, as well as, and I want to show here the name, which is basically accessed through the payload, right? So if you go to the JWT.io, if I just want to again inspect that out, and go to the application, you just need to copy that, and let's move to the JWT.io and just add this inside here. So let's put that inside. It should be yeah. So now if I just try to remove that, and you see here, so I'm getting here the username, I am the user ID, the email, and we are also getting here the issue. It should be issuer and the expiry. So we need to get here the with the help of the payload, we are able to get the data for the username, right? So let's first go inside my if I go back to the code, and if I try to implement that inside my home.component.html, so I need to change few stuff here. So let's go to, sorry, it's login. So if I go to my home.component.html, and that's where I need to show the username, plus I need to create here a functionality for the logout. All right, so just inside my LIs, I need to remove that all, and let's create here a simple LI that should have the anchor tag of, I need to create here a class first. So class equal to dropdown dash item. So dropdown dash item, and I need to remove this href, and I need here a click event. So once I click here, and that should call a function with the name of logout, which I have to create, and I also need to show inside my dropdown, I need to show here the name. All right, so let's access that first. So I need to go to my home.component.ts file, and we have to define here a few things. We have to define the router as well, that will route us to the, once we log out, this will route us to the login page. So let's create here import the router. So import router from the that should import from the Angular /router. And next thing that I need here is to import the JWT_decode. So this will let us to create the this will let us to get the storage for the token and get the username from the object, from the payload. So this I need to define a JWT_decode from the JWT-decode. And actually I need to create here a JWT-decode by command. I just want to Google that first. So JWT-decode, and just click on here, and we have to, actually I need to go to the npm command, right? So this will let us to create the JWT-decode. So JWT-decode is a small library that helps decoding the token which are base 64 URL encoded. So I need to go to the command, which I believe npm install JWT-decode. So I just need to open up my command terminal, and actually I have run my server here, so let's keep running that ng serve, and I need to open a new one, and let's install the npm install JWT-decode, right? And with the help of that, we are able to decode our base URL, base 64 URL encoded. All right, so this is going to be, let's see. All right, so it's installed, and let's go back to the code. I need to just close that for now, and let's define here the ng on in it and get the token first. So with the help of this dot token, I need to define here the object first. So on top, so define here token of any, and with the help of get item, we are able to get the token. So this dot token equal to local storage, and dot get item method will get the storage. So we have to get its key and then let's save it inside the user. This dot user data equal to, we have to decode it. So let's define the JWT underscore decode, and we have to define here a token. Let's define that inside our any. All right, so that's fine. And let's first console the log and also check the token value that we are getting. And I also need to check the username. So this dot user data saves it, and let's go back to the Angular application, refresh this, and it's showing some error. It says actually I have to see that my server is running or not. So let's go back to, it says that logout is not defined, so let's define that as well. So I need to go here inside my logout. I just need to apply here a condition, very simple, that local storage, and if there is a storage available, so with the help of remove item method, we are able to remove the token. So let's define here token, so that will remove the token, plus we need to route it to the login page. So this dot router dot navigate, and I just forget to bring it inside a constructor, so let's do that too. So it should be login, not that. All right, so let's define that inside your constructor. So private router, and define that inside our router, right? Saves it, and let's go back to the application, refresh this. Okay, so this is now this has to be fine. Now it's moved to the home page, and let's say if I just want to see here, we have a payload. So that comprises of you see here we have our long string. Now if I go to the, we can get the email, or we can get anything from here. We can get the user ID if we want, and if I just want to get the email from it, so this dot user data, so where I should be. So login dot component dot it should be home dot component dot ts file. And now in order to get here the email, I just simply need to get this dot user data dot email. And if I go back, and you see now we are able to get the email. So I need to show here the email. You can get the username if you want from your API. A very few stuff that you need to do. So if I want to get here the email, that's very simple. All you need to do, if you go to your you can just simply define here inside your this dot, if I just go here, this dot, and this should be this dot email equal to this dot user data dot email, and I need to create that object on top. So email of type any. All right, so with the help of this dot email, just copy that, and let's define it inside your where we have our home.component.html. I need to define here as well on two two locations. So let's define here this dot email, and I just need to just grab it from here and also paste it right inside your home. Now if I go back to the application, refresh this, and I need to just want to see, and there we go. So you can also show it right here on, I think so, just keep that home, just change that. I just need to place that right here. Or if you want to show some router link as well, so you can also define here by the help of router link equal to let's define here the path that we have slash for the home page. And now if I go back to the application, it says unexpected token slash. So I believe I've done something wrong here. So yeah, it should be router link equal to slash. Right, now let's go back to the application. Now if I keep clicking on here, so this should keep me to the home page. All right, so I need to remove that link as well. We don't need that. Or you could create another page depending on your usage. All right, so guys, I hope you guys learned something out of it. So now if I just try to log out, actually we are missing here something. We need to show the message for the logout. So let's give it the name of logout. And now if I just try to show you the session that we have inside our application, so we have a token. Now if I just try to log out here, click on here, and you see now this is gonna remove the token from here. So if I just try to access the login, so this one keep me a log out, right? So test@gmail.com tries to log in. We are logging inside our application and we can access the dashboard. So I hope you guys learn everything from here. So you learn about the validation, you learn about the API for how you can work with the JWT. So everything that you learn here in this video, so this video will be the best video for all. I hope you guys learned something out of it. So don't forget to like and subscribe this video. And I want to be keep making videos like this so you can learn a very practical result, a complete application. We are able to build something good. So that's it, guys. So I want to see you in the next videos.